Joining us now to break this all down, truth to power. See, Joe is truth to power. This is why Joe's going to win this race, and he's coming up in a few minutes here. This is why I'm so excited about this Morrissey campaign. In the 16th state Senate district, that's Petersburg, Dinwiddie area, Hopewell. That's why it's truth to power. I mean, Joe's out there. He's a man of the people. He's knocking on doors every day. He's talking to people. He wants to fix their potholes. He wants to get better schools. He wants to improve their lives. He wants a better library. Roz Dance, his opponent, is running around worrying about what committee chair she's going to have and what Dick Saslow is going to give her if they become the majority. This is the difference. And the entire Democratic establishment is lined up against Morrissey because, you know what? They can't tell him what to do. Because he takes his direction from, you know who, Kara? The people he represents. That's why this is such a fascinating race in a time where the Democratic Party is being taken over by establishment people, moneyed people, and activists. Joe is worried about potholes in Petersburg. So you don't get your car tire blown up when you're just driving to work. And he's joining us now to break all this down. Joe Morrissey, host of the Fighting Joe Morrissey Show, heard 10 a.m. to noon, Tuesday to Friday on WJFN 100.5 FM. Also heard on WJFNradio.com. Streaming and on Joe Morrissey Facebook Live. And so you got to tune him in. He's also a candidate for state Senate, and he's running in a Democratic primary, challenging incumbent Godfatherette Roz Dance. That'll be decided June 11th. Wherever Joe's party is, that's where we're going to be doing our election night broadcast show if he invites us. Joe, great to have you.
Hey, John. Listening to your soliloquy there, very amusing. You're always invited. But let's get serious for a moment about something. Why I actually am dictating some notes last night from my door-to-door.
Right.
You talk about, I think it was Tip O'Neill that first said it in 1935, that all politics is local.
Yes.
And that was his first congressional race. And, you know, it is, John. Listen to I'm looking at my notes, okay? You ready?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Erica Howard on Zion Street. Street hasn't been paved in 25 years. Dwayne Perkins told me that the horrible condition of roads on Jefferson Davis Highway and the lack of a pharmacy and grocery store was primary concerns. William Blackwell, horrible roads, potholes causing my car to be realigned. Tangela Lewis, increase in real estate taxes and the poor condition of Richmond roads, biggest concerns. On Terminal Avenue, Gloria Dunham is telling me roads haven't been paved in years, potholes. Montica Spears, roads and potholes. B.J. Swinson, roads and poor condition of schools. Are you getting a theme here?
Yes, sir.
People want somebody to take care of their local issues. And don't tell me just because you're a state legislator that you can't get down in the dirt and deal with that issue. You follow me?
Yes.
That's what people want.
So, look, you're going out, you're knocking on doors, you're talking to people. They just want help in being able to have a better quality of life in the 16th district.
They want a better quality of life for themselves, but more importantly, they want a better quality of life for their children and grandchildren. And that's the way it's been for centuries. Let's make it better for the next generation.
Okay, so look, this campaign you've got no endorsements. All the big endorsements are going to Roz Dance, every single one of them. All the moneyed interests are going to Roz Dance. All the corporations are going to Roz Dance. All the Richmond City de facto developer money, that's all going to Roz Dance. How do you win when everybody is lined up against you?
Well, you know, it's interesting. First of all, I haven't heard any of these people coming out endorsing her, but do I expect it to happen? Yes. I'm going to spend $75,000. I'm not going to be out. I'm not out there raising money, John. I simply don't do that. I go out for 14 weeks, let me see, half of January, all of February, March, most of April, probably maybe a little less than 14 weeks. There's only one day that I wasn't out there knocking on doors, only one day, Easter Sunday. Okay? I did visit, my family and I visited a church in Petersburg, but I absolutely have my hand on the pulse of things, and the people, I'm connecting with the people. I drive down the street, they're stopping their cars, they're honking their horns. They're saying, "I'm voting for you, Joe." I really don't care what the Democratic elitists do, but support my opponent. Fine, do it at your own peril. My opponent on the night that the Virginia UVA was winning the national basketball championship was sitting down with people from Dominion Energy asking them for money. I'm not doing that. I'm simply out there connecting with the people, and I think it resonates. And the message is getting out there, and I feel very good about it, John.
All right, let's get to the Democratic elitists that you just mentioned. I found it shocking that Justin Fairfax, who is the elected lieutenant governor of Virginia, wants to buy a table and have his, guests go, and they take money for tables. I mean, that's how they raise money. Well, the Democratic Party of Virginia kicking him out, saying, here's your money back. You can't have a table. Then he tries to donate money to candidates. They don't want it. They kick that back. What is going on here?
Well, as you recall, it was a Friday afternoon, and the second allegation regarding Justin Fairfax came over the wires about the fellow student from Duke. It was an allegation. It was the second allegation, and everybody abandoned him. The Democratic elitists say, get out, go away, resign. Articles of impeachment were considered being brought against him. The entire state Senate caucus, Democratic caucus, you're out. I was the only Democrat in the Commonwealth of Virginia, along with Paul Goldman, that said, wait a second, folks, would you please consider that novel concept called due process?
Right.
That's enshrined in our Constitution. Just because somebody makes an allegation doesn't make it factually correct. And since that time, there have been numerous cracks in the women's allegations. For example, one woman claimed that something happened, and he wasn't even in the state at the time. I clamored for due process, and you know what? All those people started going silent. With regard to the not taking his money, I think it's rude. I think it's beyond dismissive. I think it's arrogant. But that's the way the party operates. They decide who is the next person in line. Really? You're gonna decide elitist Susan Swecker and crowd over at the elitist Democratic Party headquarters? Really? Okay, fine. Have it your way. But people forget, at the end of the day, this system of democracy is based on what the people think, okay? I think it's going to be that Justin should just keep his working his nose to the grindstone. I think he should, with regard to the Democratic elitists sending his money back, just take the high road, Justin. If that's what they want to do, then that's what they do. I hope he still goes to the function, all right? But if he doesn't, all right, he is the one that is being mature. The Democratic elitists are the ones that are acting like petulant children. And I think they're making a big, big mistake, because here's a prediction. When it all comes out, it will be determined that Justin Fairfax was innocent. He did nothing wrong. There will be no criminal charges whatsoever. And what will come out is that there was a smear campaign against him, and I think he'll be vindicated.
That's a pretty bold prediction from Joe Morrissey that Justin Fairfax will be vindicated. A lot of people obviously don't think that's the case. But, Joe, here's the deal.
I respect their opinion.
Yeah, he took a light. He took a light.
I have a modicum of experience at that.
Yes.
30 years as a prosecutor, defense attorney, did over 300 or 400 jury trials.
Yes.
I have a modicum of of expertise to fall back on?
Well, you've also got facts. I mean, Justin Fairfax, he denied all the allegations. He took a lie detector test, passed that. You can dispute whether that's accurate or not, but he did that. He put himself through that. He was willing to participate in a hearing. There's no hearing. He has said, well, bring the criminal investigation, charge me. They've not done that. No charges, no
Well, hold on a second. Those are all, that's peripheral, important, but peripheral. How about this? Look at the facts, folks. I'm just going to take the very first incident, the young lady who, at first blush is, credible. But look at the facts. The young lady and Justin meet on the floor of the Boston Convention. This is from her own words. She willingly went to his hotel room. She stood at the door while he went through a briefcase. She willingly engaged in kissing with him at the doorway. And then she said, quote, her words, "He gently led me over to the bed, and I went with him." Then she said, "I laid down on the bed, and we kissed, and it was mutually consensual." All right? And that's when their stories diverge. Really? You listen to that, and you're saying, I'm not going to give Justin Fairfax due process when I listen to those uncontroverted facts? And then we find out that the chief aide to Stoney, Mayor Stoney, his wife screenshotted and started this whole ball rolling, and on the top of her screenshot it said, quote, this is on a Sunday night, Monday morning operation. Monday morning operation for what? To disgrace Justin and prevent him from ascending to the governor's position. And let's be clear, I've met Justin a handful of times.
Right.
A couple times. I mean, I'm not his buddy. And I said over and over again, if that were a Republican, an independent, a libertarian, a vegetarian that was in that seat, I would be saying the same thing. I believe in due process. I believe in the facts. I believe in not scarring and tainting and tarring and feathering an individual until the facts are there. Forgive me, folks out there, but I actually I like due process. Mm-hmm. He didn't get it. It bothers me to my core. Can I say anything else?
No, look, I think, Joe, you summed it up, and it's part of the whole elitist attitude of some of these Democrats basically in charge of the party right now that think they're smarter than the voter, they're smarter than the lawyers, they're smarter than the process, and they're basically kicking Fairfax to the curb. I mean, the fact that a sitting lieutenant governor is unable to buy a table at a Democratic fundraiser is kind of beyond the pale. I mean, it's one thing to say, we don't want you. If I'm a candidate and I'm running for office and I can say, I don't really want you doing leading a rally for me. I get that. That's the candidate's choice. They can make that decision. But he is a Democrat. He is a lieutenant governor. He's not going anywhere. He's going to run for governor when this is over. And the fact that you're banning him, it's like it's like he's being banned. Just like they banned Joe.
Here's the bottom line at this. At one time, they were talking about Justin, Herring, and Stoney possibly running for governor. That ain't going to happen. There's no question who's running for governor. There's no question who's getting the nomination. You ready?
Yes.
Terry McAuliffe. Terry McAuliffe realized that there was not a pathway for him to the presidency in 2020.
Right.
Joe Biden is running the race. He takes that middle lane, that businessman lane, that elderly, not elderly, I say this respectfully. Right. Terry's in his, late 60s,
mature,
Biden's in his late 70s.
Yeah.
So you got the senator from Vermont, Bernie, is in his late 70s as well. There's not a pathway for him in this primary. Besides, everybody voting in that Democratic primary are looking to the far left. That's how they're going to get the vote. The Beto O'Rourke, the Pete Buttigieg. You got to be far to the left to get the progressives that are coming out in the primary, and it's going to be very difficult to win the election. He sees that, and he says, wait a second. I'll run for a second term as governor, okay? I will be 3 years into my second term when 2024 comes around. If President Trump is re-nominated, and I think he will, and if he's reelected, then the public will be ready for a Democrat in 2024. Boom. Terry McAuliffe runs as an incumbent governor, a chief executive of a state, and he is the clear front runner in 2024. Not that hard to figure out, folks. So what does that mean? It means that Herring, done. LeVar, go back to running mayor and then wait till the elitists tell you when you can run. Justin Fairfax, sorry, there's not an avenue out there. That's what's going to happen.
All right. Well, I think it's going to be.
You need a rocket scientist to give you that pathway.
The Democrat,
my 6-year-old can figure that out.
The Democratic Party bigwigs cleared the path, cleared the briar patch for McAuliffe once in 2013. They're not going to do it again. Kenny Alexander is going to run. Jennifer McClellan's going to run. There's no Terry McAuliffe is going to have to fight for this nomination. There's going to be no anointing him this time the way he was in 2013. Joe, I got to go. I'm getting the bottom of the hour. I want to thank Joe Morrissey for being with us, running for Senate, candidate for Senate. He's also coming up, Fighting Joe Morrissey show. Joe Morrissey, right back.